Hi, I'm Mike, and this is an intro. Alright, this guy is Mikaeus the Unhallowed. Okay, he's out of, let's see, Dark Ascension, middle block from, Innistrad. Almost forgot the name. Wow, it hasn't even been that long. But yeah, that's a few sets ago at this point. Mikaeus is combo bait. He is straight up combo bait. There is almost nothing about him that isn't combo bait. And if you've seen any deck that, say, runs Triskelion, you're going to see Mikaeus, or vice versa, just because this right here is an infinite combo. It is an infinite damage combo. You remove the first two counters from Triskelion that he comes with, that do 2 damage, kill himself with the last one, he comes back, enters with an extra one with Mikaeus, and repeat infinitely. Right there, it's really simple, really easy, and really stupid. It's also the kind of thing that is a little mana intensive, because altogether that's, his 6 cost, it's 6 cost, but once you have it down, you win, unless for some reason someone has hexproof as the player, which is actually completely possible, either an enchantment or an artifact or a creature that does that at this point. So yeah, it's possible, but not as likely. Or they're just doing a damage redirect combo. But yeah, this is a quick way to win the game, and Mikaeus is broken in that respect. He's a good card. That said, because he's so easy to break, he gets targeted right away, and he does a lot of dying really fast, because he doesn't save himself. Which is usually why one of the best cards to use with him to save that is Cauldron of Souls. Now, it's a one-shot save for Mikaeus because he can't, break this ability. But when used together, it gives him an extra time to save around, and if you can throw a +1 counter at him, then he can, be saved again by the Cauldron. And when used in conjunction, these two cards work really well because, well, one saves them when they die and gives them a +1 counter. One saves the creature when it dies and gives it a -1 counter. Specifically, though, you have to tap and choose a creature before it dies. And you can name any number of creatures, though. So basically, tap before anything happens, and name every creature you control until the end of turn. If they die, they just come back with a -1 counter. And with Mikaeus, if they die again, they get, a +1 counter. The big problem is, because of Mikaeus, anything with a human name, or tribal human, is instantly going to be useless with him. He's really anti-human. Now, Conspiracy is a good way to fix that, because, you just don't have humans anymore at that point, so you can still use them, but that's a little more mana-intensive, because you gotta work around it. It's easier just to work with what he has already, because it saves you a step. Now, that said, there's a few other little combos with Mikaeus, especially this one, that don't see a lot of play, oddly enough. And they're really easy to pull off. The first one is actually an absurdly easy combo, and I'm sure the second someone sees it, they'll figure out what it is. Another card that's absolute combo bait. Amoeba, or Amiiboid Changeling. 2-drop, this one's out of the Sliver premium set? Premium set, I think. Changeling. It has every creature type at all times, which means Mikaeus can't save it because technically it's a human. That said, that is absolutely useless. Well, technically you could tap it and save itself because it loses all creature types. So it's not a human, so it can be saved by Mikaeus, but you have to tap it and it's a little less than instant. What's really useful is that this guy says target creature gains all creature types until end of turn, which means any creature that's attacking you and isn't a human, as long as it doesn't have Shroud, Hexproof, or Pro Blue, or is Progenitus, then you are instantly going to say that as soon as it does damage to you, it is destroyed. That is a very big threat to hold over your enemies, especially when, if it's their general, they'll know that you're going to do it again and again and again. The Changeling is really cheap to get out, and he can screw around with a lot of decks, so any way that this comes out is going to be really interesting, because these are two very tribal-oriented cards. This one's specifically not human, and this one, it just screws around with tribal altogether because it takes or gives perfect tribal for anything you want. And God knows, if you put an untap combo in there, you can do a lot of little funny things, but I won't get into that because that's other cards rather than Mikaeus. But yeah, together they just make it so that you can say, your creature will now die if you hit me. And that will give a lot of people pause. They will focus on the Amiiboid instead of Mikaeus. It's a little bit of a redirection there. And if nothing else, this will buy you time to set up something to win. Also, speaking of things to set up this is the combo I really thought was interesting out of Mikaeus. And it's one of the more fun things. I'm going to say this wrong, Norwegian Sages. Now, it's another 6-drop, and it's blue, so, have to splice colors. Not impossible, especially with these two. Graft 4, so it comes in with 4 +1/+1 counters. Now, that means that Mikaeus will never save this guy unless you graft away everything. In which case, that's actually not bad, but it's not ideal. What makes it interesting, though, is pay 1. Remove 2 +1/+1 counters from among creatures you control. Draw a card. Mikaeus' biggest flaw right off the bat is that if someone has a +1 counter, they don't get saved. The Sages says pay 1 and 2 creatures can be saved again. Now, you can also pay it twice, kill this guy, get it back with Mikaeus, and do it again. So it's not bad, because for the equivalent of 2 mana, you draw 4 cards. Sorry, 2 mana, 2 cards. It's basically a pay 1, draw 1, but you have to pay 2 together. So it's more like pay 2, draw 2, and you can do it whenever you want. So it's not bad. Or, well, no, actually, it'd be pay 4, draw 2, because it has to be 2 creatures, not the same creature twice, unless you can, rules lawyer someone, but I would not assume that. I wouldn't recommend that. That said, this makes it a little more interesting. Also, the other altar as well, the one that says 2 colorless, can't remember the name off the top of my head. I think it's Tanos? No, that's something else. That's the candle. Whatever. But yeah, the altars that give you sack mana really make this interesting because as long as you have 2 other creatures besides these 2, and considering they're 6-drop creatures, I would really hope in a blue or black deck you're going to have at least a few lower level ones to help set up the game. So you're going to have something in there. What you want to do then is, well, first, when they don't have counters, sack 2 creatures to give you 2 mana of whatever color you want. They'll immediately come back with Mikaeus, as long as they're not humans, with +1 counters on them. You're going to have 2 floating mana. What you're going to want to do then is pay 1 of it to remove those counters. You're then going to draw a card. I'm just going to cut to the chase. The long story short is, with this at least, you're going to be gaining colored mana. 2 mana every turn, or every, repetition. You're going to be paying 1 of it when they come back with Mikaeus into sacking them and removing the counters. Specifically, move the counters, draw the card, resack them. You end up going to have as much of your deck into your hand as you want with all the mana you need to play it. It's just really effective because unlike the instant win combo, this is instant whatever you want combo, and it is at instant speed. So if someone tries to counter it, you can easily work around it by just saying, nope, in response I sack these creatures, I draw these creatures, and eventually you're going to find a counterspell or an answer because this is how you win the game. And unlike Triskelion, where someone can pull out some little trickery to stop it or prevent all damage this turn, this will instantly let you draw into a counterspell to stop that. Because if you're playing blue, which is a required color here, you will get it. This is kind of one of the more incredibly stupid combos because it comes down to, with these 3 cards, you end up having the same effect as Omniscience and Minds Unbound. Sorry, not Minds Unbound. The card that says draw your deck, put 1 back. Those are high-cost cards. And Omniscience is a 10-drop enchantment to let you play anything from your hand without paying its mana cost. And, oh god, I can't believe I'm blanking on this. It's a card I love playing, for dickish reasons. But it's a 12-drop sorcery, I think, that says draw your deck, put 1 card back. No maximum hand size until next turn. And, at that point, you can play your deck for any cost you want. The difference is, this is so much easier to play. These are 6-drop cards. Now, they're 6 drops, so they're not cheap, but at the same time, you're going to have the altar in play, and you're going to probably have the other altar in play, and you're going to have a lot of little creatures that you can sack. This is a win combo right here because you can play your deck. You can draw out your deck, and then you will have the mana by the end of it to easily just, play your entire deck without worrying about mana costs. And if you have a single blue card in there that lets you shuffle your graveyard back into your library, just discard a bunch of things and put them back into your, and do it again. This is a win combo that is unparalleled because it is perfectly versatile. If you have all 3 of these cards out at the same time and at least 2 creatures, you will win the game. Unless for some god-awful reason you don't want to win the game and you're just screwing around with everyone, in which case, well, I guess you just want to screw around with everyone. I've seen it happen before. Yeah, I know a few people who actually build decks to screw around and not to win. They're usually absolutely evil decks and more people quit against them than lose. yeah, this is kind of just broken in a way that the other one isn't. Now, it's a 3-card combo rather than 2, but it also covers so many more bases. I would recommend Triskelion if you want the immediate win, but if you just want the sheer joy of saying, my deck is now everything I ever want, forever, this is how you do it. It's evil, it's scary, it's stupid, and it works. The only downside is you need a blue-black general. The upside is there's a lot of really good blue-black generals, so you're probably not going to be lacking. Alright, that's the card. That's a quick combo. Because I'm not going to call this a review just because it's Mikaeus. It's the Black Mikaeus. He's good. There's really just no way to say it otherwise. Well, I'm Mike. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, and if there's a card you'd like me to look at later, give me a heads up. I'm always looking for new things. Later.